I'm Tana Heminsley, and I'm here with Diana Reyers, and we're going to have a conversation about a book that we have just completed. Well, really, Diana has just completed. So it's an adaptation of a book that I've written for organizational leaders. It's part of the Authentic Leadership, the Awaken Your Authentic Leadership series, and Diana has painstakingly and with love adapted this book to a broader audience. And so, Diana, will you tell us about the book, please?
Absolutely. It's thank you, Tana. This is so nice to be here together with you, talking about this book that we did create together. It's actually when you think about it, it's actually a 10-year creation, because it started back when you started creating those conversations, those authentic leadership conversations. And that's when I came into your life and you came into mine. And then over the years, I created Daring to Share, and we did the books and the events. And anytime I worked with an author, I always used those conversations to support them to write their story and to write their whether it was a chapter and now working with authors one-on-one to support them to write their 8-chapter books. So it became very clear to me and you, when we had these conversations, was that this needed to be in print. It needed to be a step-by-step process for people to be able to write their story, but simultaneously move through a process of self-discovery to be able to show up in the world as their authentic or best self. And so what that does is it truly is magical, because the self-discovery of finding out who you are as your authentic self supports you to write your story in an authentic way. And so the end result is that you move through this beautiful personal evolution. And at the end, you end up with a beautiful book. And whether it's not actually a book, a published book, but it's like your 8 chapters. And some people may not get to that point, but they will have some sort of a story written down in front of them. And that's really the purpose of this, is not so much to, although it could be, but not so much to have the focus on writing 8 chapters, but to be able to articulate your story. And your story is who you are.
Yeah, lovely. And I want to talk about the gift of when someone writes the story down, when they are intentional and go back through the years and take the time. What are the benefits? What happens for the person when they go on this journey?
Well, the benefits, it's truly cathartic, just like any sort of self-discovery process is. But this is really, really about being able to have a voice and articulate, your story. So, and discovering what your story is. So many people will say to me, I don't know what to write. What would I write? And so the discovery that your story is really valid and that it's your truth. And so it has to be remarkable, because it is your truth. So, thinking that it has to be something remarkable in your mind is not authentic. I mean, we all have a story within us. And I know a lot of people say that, but it's that you don't need to make anything up. You just need to be able to trust your story and trust who you are. And once you get to that point of trusting who you are, and that's where the self-discovery of moving through the worksheets is so magical, because it really provides you with that confidence and that ease to be able to articulate your story and who you are. And so, of course, you need context within all of that. And so that's where, the workbook supports you to discover, what do I want to write in this chapter and the next chapter and the next chapter. And all of a sudden you're just writing and writing and writing, and you can't stop. And so it's freedom. It's freedom to be who you are and to articulate who you are. Does that make sense?
It does. And I imagine that for some, maybe for many, it's the first time they've really been honest with themselves and dug deep to articulate who they are and what has gone on in their life and in their journey.
Absolutely.
I can't help, I'm sorry.
No, absolutely. No.
Yeah. I can't help but think that there's a healing. There's healing in the telling of the story. And one of the things that really struck me about your intention and the way you do this is there's an integrity that you stand behind with every person you work with, and that they need to involve other people in a way that's ethical and authentic as well.
Yes, very much so. So, I mean, you and I worked together when you wrote your chapter, and of course, I didn't have to persuade you to do that because you're the authentic queen to me. But you got it, you understood it, and I think everybody does understand that. But it's just about whether can I actually do that, or how can I do that? So that's where this workbook will guide you as well. And when I work one-on-one with authors, or as a collaborative book with authors, we do that. We really spend a lot of time determining how can I write the story without hurting somebody. We start right at the beginning with journaling, when you're not even sharing what you're writing. We start right there. So how does it feel when you're writing about someone? Is it a feel good? Is it not a feel good? Are you being integral? Are you sharing in a judgmental way or not? Because judgment is not a very authentic way of being, although it of course comes up. So how can we manage that judgment? What do we need to work on for ourselves that will provide us with the ability to share in an authentic way that's not judgmental? There's no retribution. It's not about that. It's more about yourself and how you're feeling within the situation, not about the other person. And so that, again, it gives you the freedom to do that. And that's very cathartic, because there is healing in that there's almost a level of acceptance and forgiveness that comes from being able to express yourself without being angry anymore.
Yeah, processing it. It's a way to process.
It certainly is. Yeah.
And a way to inspire. So the stories, when, just say a bit about daring to share and what happens. I'm getting goosebumps just thinking about it. When people share their story, how does that impact others?
Yeah, I mean, it's that ripple effect that we've been talking about for years. One of the reasons is that there's that ripple effect, how it affects and inspires people, is that when you read someone's story, even though it's not your story as the reader, there are bits and pieces of it that you resonate with. And mostly that is that the daring to share way to share is very much about expressing your emotional feelings, how you feel through experiences when you are with people, and when you've gone through good and bad, trauma and victory. So those things are the things that people resonate with. The rest is just context, to be honest. I mean, we resonate with how people feel. We know this. That's connection. It creates connection. And so that's what is so inspiring about that. The other piece of the inspiration is just that someone is willing to share their story. I mean, within this, the workbook, this is for you. This is for you to be able to move through this process and feel good about it. And be able to articulate your story, and go through that personal evolution. In the end, if you want to, publish it, find someone to publish it, or something like that, then that's the next step. That's what you can do, and go through like extensive editing if you need to. But that isn't the purpose of this workbook. This workbook is intended for you to go through the process of the self-discovery and articulating your story. So that we want this workbook will inspire you as well to do that. And then if you feel like sharing the story, that's another piece of inspiration where you can create that ripple in the world.
So there's a safety in not needing to share it with anyone.
Totally.
Just the writing of it is the point. And there are options for possibilities. Thank you. That
Absolutely. And you can just trust your soul, right? That's what we want. We want you to get to the point of trusting your soul. And that's what the worksheets are for. That whole process of the conversations that you so eloquently created. That's the purpose of them, is to support you to feel confident to do that, to trust your soul.
Thank you. Anything more that you'd like to say about the book?
I think just, get it. It's amazing. It's a great price on the 26th, January 26th is the Amazon launch, and it'll be $24.95 rather than $34.95. What a great deal to get 12 of these worksheets, these conversations. to do, especially during this time. I don't want to, dwell on COVID, but it is kind of a time of isolation. So what a great time to do self-work. If you're somebody who likes to just do self-work on your own or get started on some self-work, this is a great way to do that. And then also it's a great time to write your story, or to, or to articulate your story, to figure out what that story looks like. So I think it's just it's a great collaboration between you and I. I mean, I talked about this somewhere else, is that both of us have passions for authenticity and writing. And we've brought them together and created something so impactful. I mean, this is going to change people's lives. And the empowering part is you can do it on your own. It's a great start. And then if you need more work, then find somebody who can support that. So I think it's just a great start. And it's really impactful. I have goosebumps too. I'm really, really excited by this. And I also just want to, mention your new book, Ease Amidst Challenging Times. Sorry, I didn't say that very well. Ease Amidst Challenging Times. And could you share a little bit about that?
Sure.
Because that's coming out very soon, tomorrow.
It is January 12th. So here's my mock-up, because I don't have
gorgeous.
a full copy.
I know, I'm the same. It's gorgeous. Hold that up more for longer, because that's just one of the covers. There is another one too.
Yeah,
it's gorgeous. It's gorgeous.
There is. It's meant to be my life's learnings in an hour-long read. It's supporting people to build some coping strategies. I call them practices, simple practices that will support you to have more ease in this terrible and challenging time, not to diminish the time at all. As you said, it's a time of isolation and a time where we can do our inner work, and we can learn some new practices that will help us during, the winter, during COVID, and beyond COVID, to any times in your life that are challenging. My sister-in-law did the illustrations. They're really
gorgeous.
Wonderful.
They really are. They're beautiful. Leslie Layton, correct?
Yeah, Leslie Layton. I'm so proud of her, and it was a real a passion project for the two of us. So thank you for asking.
Yes, of course. It's just a fabulous book. I'm going to get 4 copies, and I am going to get the hardcover copy, because I really feel like they're like a coffee table book. We talked about that before. I think they're just something great to have handy, because of course I've had a preview of the book, and you can either read it from start to finish, like once you've done that once, and then you can I remember that practice, and just flip through it and find it if you're needing some support during the day. So it's great. It's a beautiful, beautiful book, and congratulations. I'm so excited for you.
Thank you. Yeah, it's a book that I hope people will read and then give to others who need support right now as well.
That's what I'm doing with the other 3.
Yeah.
Yeah. And there are 2 covers, so I'm going to get 2 of each. Just so, yeah. I love your inclusion.
Yeah, thank you.
Love the fact that you have inclusion in there, in the whole book. That's Leslie too has done that. It's beautiful.
All right. Great to see you, Dinah. Thanks so much.
Yes, you too. Thank you.
Yeah. Bye.
Bye-bye.